These are stories of outdoor adventure and expert advice from folks with calloused hands. I'm James Nash, and this is the Six Ranch Podcast. So today I'm sitting in an art studio, which is a garage in Hilo, Hawaii. It's raining outside, and I'm with Brandon from Makai Impressions. How are you, sir?
I'm very good. Happy to be here.
Yeah.
Welcome to my very humble studio.
This is a gorgeous studio. I love it.
Thank you.
And what is the type of art that you do?
So I'm a Gyotaku artist. Gyotaku is a Japanese fish printing art form.
Okay. I think a lot of people might have seen examples of this in the world, or maybe they've seen one of your videos on the internet.
Right.
But talk to me a little bit about what Gyotaku is, and let's talk about how it got started as well.
So Gyotaku began in Japan around the 18th century. It started as a record-keeping thing where you would use a real fish to create one-of-a-kind works of art. So in its origin, it started more as like a record-keeping for size. But throughout time, it evolved to become its own thing, like its own art form.
Yeah. I also understand that a lot of commercial fishermen in Japan would make these prints when they're on their way back into shore, and they do it on the boat.
Yes.
And then they'd have their fish cut up and for sale, but they'd have this Gyotaku
to
print
show like what they have available.
Exactly.
Yes, that's so cool, right?
It's so cool. And something I noticed, like if you go to the grocery store now and you go to the meat section, there's very little, if anything, to link that package of meat with the animal that it came from.
Right.
Like if you go to the fish case, there's not going to be a picture of a yellowfin tuna above the ahi. There's not going to be a picture of a cow over the beef.
Definitely not.
It's just like this thing that's wrapped in cellophane, and there's never been a greater divide between what the food is and where it came from.
Right. You have no idea where it came from, or is it even real? You know, like.
But you take it to that fish market, and you've got the fisherman who caught it, who also made this Gyotaku, and then whoever's coming to buy it is seeing this artwork, seeing this image, and then seeing the cut product right there, where they can, know that this is the kind of fish or whatever that they're buying.
Right.
I love that so much.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique thing, you know, Gyotaku work.
And we just got to do a Gyotaku on a mu, which is a very, very sought after fish here. A lot of the spear fishermen, a lot of the free divers, they love mu. Like that's their target species. It's a difficult species to get. In the past few days of diving here, I've definitely seen a few. I have not gotten within range. So I think that the spear fishermen who get them are really good hunters.
Definitely. It's definitely one of the more prized fish we have here in Hawaii. Good eating, so if you do happen to catch one, it's definitely a fish that's worth commemorating. So I have a lot of mu come to me, and I get those printed for them.
And you are an angler, you're a spear fisherman, you're a diver, and a sushi chef.
Yes.
So sushi is another great example of food and art getting combined.
Yes.
Did you feel like you worked at a place where you got to be artistic in the way that you were making sushi, or were you trying to follow like traditional?
It was a mixture of both. It was a little bit more traditional omakase style sushi restaurant, but we had a lot of freedom in like the plating and the way we wanted things to look. So I think I always gravitated towards sushi because I've always been in the culinary field. But I think my artistic side kind of pulled me towards sushi eventually because, you have more room to make things look artistic and nice. And the composition, the way I look at composition of my Gyotaku art, it's like a composition of a sushi piece. It goes hand in hand, I feel like.
Interesting. So how do you try to plate sushi? What things do you keep in mind with composition?
So with sushi composition, it's the colors. It's like that's a good question. I kind of just do it, like I start from one end and I just let it slowly unravel, if that makes sense. I don't really have like a set protocol of how to make it. I just go with what I feel,
Right.
and it comes together.
Do you get to think about things like the color of the plate and
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
From the color of the plate to the color of the fish, you know,
Yeah.
like the color of the skin and garnishing, and you know, are you gonna torch the skin? Are you gonna pour boiling water over it? Are you gonna leave it raw? Are you gonna remove the skin? There's a lot of different ways you can approach sushi.
Yeah. When I eat fish with Kylie Omeda, who I know I'm down here spearfishing and diving with her and Lance, when we go to eat fish, like Garfield is going to starve.
Right.
Like we're eating heads, we're eating bones.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting thing because I'm eating more parts of these fish than I would have at home.
Right.
Like a kole, one of my very favorite fish to spear down here. I love the way that we cook them, love the way that we eat them. They're plentiful.
Crunch everything up, like the fins and the bones and
The brain, it's
The
super
brain.
tasty.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds gross to people. I know that there's people that are like, why are you eating fried reef fish brains?
Why are you not eating it is the question.
It's delicious.
It's delicious.
And there's good stuff in there, stuff that's good for you.
Right.
So another thing that I think is so cool about Gyotaku is that your customers are still going to eat their fish.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
That's one of the beauties of Gyotaku is nothing ever goes to waste.
Yeah.
So you get a one-of-a-kind, you know, work of art that holds the memories of your catch and, you know, who you're with, the weather, all the emotions, and you also get to enjoy the fish as a meal, as originally intended.
The feeling of the art is interesting to me because I've got my background as a Western hunter involves a lot of taxidermy,
Right.
And it's a lot of skulls and a lot of shoulder mounts, sometimes full body mounts, rugs, things like that. There's something about a shoulder mounted deer or elk, moose, whatever, that it feels like an attempt at bringing that animal back to life in a way that is sometimes a little bit awkward. What I get the sense from in Gyotaku is that there's life in there, but it's also clear that this is a dead animal.
Right.
Like this is something that was harvested for food. And it's clear that it's dead, but it's like a freeze frame of that moment.
Right. It's more like an implied type of life.
Yeah.
You know, like I think taxidermy is more like literally they're trying to make it look like it's still alive, but it's impossible because it's not.
Yeah.
You know?
So tell me more about an implied sense of life.
So I think that with my Gyotaku work, I always make sure at the end of the day that it's still a Gyotaku, which is an imperfect art form. So if I were to go and, you know, trace in every single scale and add the shine to every single eyelid, it would look really cool. But personally, I feel like it should still be a Gyotaku at the end of the day. So it's kind of bringing the life back into it without trying too hard to make it look like a photo.
Yeah. How long have you been doing it?
16 years now.
Tell me about getting started with it.
So I started when I was in high school. I saw it done by a local artist, Naoki. He's one of the legends in Oahu, one of the first people to do it in Hawaii. So I grew up, you know, fishing, spear diving like a lot of people here in Hawaii. And when I saw it, I really got inspired to try it for myself, you know. So I started with me and my friends' own catches, and, you know, I did a Gyotaku for my dad for a Father's Day gift. I did catches for my friends, and I just never stopped doing it for 16 years, and now it's my full-time job.
That's so cool.
Thanks, man.
Because how many artists are there out there that, you know, are passionate about their medium, but they can never turn it into a profession?
Right. It's always something that I dreamed of doing, and I'm just very grateful that I am doing it as my full-time profession now.
And on the Big Island, you're the go-to guy.
I don't know.
I mean, like even since I've been here, two of my friends have shot fish who, you know, they either need to come back over and pick up their prints,
Right.
or, you know, as soon as they got the fish, they're bringing it directly to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just my little circle, you know?
Right.
And I've seen some of the work that you've done for Kylie, and it's amazing. Let's talk about what the process actually is to sort of paint a picture, if you will,
picture, literally.
for folks who are listening all around the world for what is actually happening. So somebody shows up here with a fish in a cooler and says, "Hey, man, do your thing."
Yeah, that's exactly what happened right before you showed up here, right? Someone brought a cooler with a fish with the moo. They caught last night fishing, so I washed the fish off, place it on my table, get it nice and dry, apply a layer of paint, and then I remove the excess paint, place my rice paper over it, and I start rubbing over the surface of the fish, and that will transfer the image onto my rice paper.
Okay. And then what do you do with the fins?
So the fins, I like to pull them out to look like the fish is still alive.
Yep.
I think there's a really big difference between seeing a fish dead in a cooler and seeing the fish alive in the water. And I think that myself being a fisherman and a spear fisherman, it helps me to realize that fish looks totally different in the water than when they're just in the cooler, And I think that's really important because not a lot of people know that,
Well, even anglers who are only fishing from the boat aren't going to know that.
Right,
they'll get
exactly.
a glimpse of that fish right before it gets netted or gaffed or pulled into the boat, but they're also getting that glimpse distorted through reflection and refraction. And
Right.
And it's also a fish that is stressed out because he's hooked.
Right.
Whereas if you're laying on the bottom of the reef and you're poofing up sand and scratching on the reef and grunting, and then this fish kind of comes out of the murk or out of the distance and starts working its way through the corals towards you, and you're like, trying to hide. And, for me, I'm like feeling these contractions, and I know my clock's ticking, and it's like, okay, I've probably got 8 or 9 seconds left. Right. And is he going to get in close enough? And you just get all of these feelings while you're trying to be as calm as possible in this high pressure environment, literally high pressure. Your body's being squeezed by the ocean that's sitting above you, and you're observing this fish, but trying not to look at it too closely, and then thinking about your gun and your shot and moving slowly, and extend out there and squeeze the trigger, and you see that shaft hit the fish, and you feel it, and then start heading for the surface and get that first breath of air and look down. And dude, it's so incredible.
Yeah,
spearfishing is the best.
Spearfishing is like a whole different experience, than just normal fishing from the boat or something.
And since you do that, all of these details about how that fish actually lives,
right,
that can help you with the way that you orient and position their fins.
Right, definitely. Yeah. Even like the colors, like some fish have like moo, for example. If you were to see it diving, like you're saying, you're throwing up sand and you see the moo come in, and then they'll just be like this flat gray color, and then you'll suddenly just see like these deep black bars show up out of nowhere when they're excited, and they'll come in towards you, and it's just a whole different experience being underwater with the fish.
Yeah.
And I think that really helps me to become a better Gyotaku artist.
Sure.
As well.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
So then all of these three-dimensional details that are on the fish, his fins, his scales, his gills, his eye, all these things, those turn into the stamp after you've blotted all this ink off. You pull it off, and you've got this black and white image that is a 2D representation of this 3D animal.
Yes.
Now that's like traditional
Gyotaku.
Yeah.
So from there, they would just draw in the eye, and that would be finished.
Now the eye is such a critical detail.
Oh,
whether
the
it's
eye
on
is everything.
taxidermy, photography, it's such an important way that humans interact with each other and with other animals.
Right.
And oftentimes it's the first thing that we'll look at in any image as well, is the eye.
Right.
So since you're doing this print and the eye is soft and gelatinous, how do you try to bring that eye back to life afterwards?
So for me with Gyotaku, the eye is the very last thing that I'll draw in. So with my style, I'll color the fish, but I'll wait till the very end until I fill in the eye. It's kind of like a Japanese art thing, where it's like you have the the patience to, fill in everything else, knowing that it's not going to be complete until that very last step where it all comes together and you fill in the eye.
Yeah.
I think the eye holds the life. It holds everything.
Something that you'll notice with catch and release fishermen, you'll see this with trout, you'll see this with salmon. If they're holding that fish out of the water and taking a picture of it, if that fish is alive, his eye's pointing down. He's looking at the water.
Oh, really? I never noticed that.
If they've held that fish out of the water too long, then his pupil comes back to the middle.
Oh, I never realized that.
So the position of that pupil is really important. And what I see you doing with these is you're getting the pupil, you're getting the line around it, you're developing these colors, and then also adding a little bit of reflection in there too.
Yes.
Yeah. How critical is that reflection?
Oh, it's so critical.
Yeah.
It's like just that little bit of white paint, which is implying light. It makes such a difference in the eye. It really like helps it pop, come back to life.
What's the most difficult fish to print?
Oh, that's a good question. The most difficult fish to print. Oh man, that's a good question. I'm gonna have to come back to that one.
Okay. Do you have a favorite fish to print?
I like printing omilu, bluefin trevally, just because of the colors.
Okay.
Yeah, they have like this vibrant, like cobalt electric blue when they're alive, and it's almost like a iridescent kind of blue. Like it's really hard to replicate that color. It's almost like it's glowing.
You were able to bring that out in a lot of these fish, and I think oftentimes one of the most beautiful parts of a fish is its cheek. And you'll see these
we were talking about that earlier.
Metallic colors coming out of it that are iridescent and reflective, like the cheek on an ahi, on a tuna. It's incredible.
Right.
It is phenomenal. There is not another color in nature that is even close to it.
Not even close.
And I think that's a very difficult thing to bring out in painting. How do you manage it?
I think Gyotaku is a lot about beauty and imperfection. It's not about making it look like perfect, because what does perfect mean? Like a fish is not perfect. It has scars, it has missing scales, it has, like shredded fins sometimes. So it's just kind of working with what is put before you, what nature gave you, and just trying to bring that back to life.
Now, one of the fish you have hanging up behind you here is a rooster fish.
Yes.
Gyo.
Yeah.
As far as I know, y'all don't have them here.
We definitely don't have. I wish we did.
So how did this fish come to be in your studio?
So I went on a solo fishing trip last year. I went to La Cruz, Mexico, and I was fortunate. I caught my first Gyo and I caught my first Pargo, Cubera snapper.
Nice.
Yeah.
That Pargo is a good eating fish.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Kind of tastes like a lobster.
Yeah.
Kind of mild, sweet.
Rooster fish, not so much.
Yeah, rooster. Actually, this smaller rooster fish, it was pretty good eating.
Wasn't too bad?
It was about 7 pounds maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I heard the larger ones are not so good eating.
I shot a pretty decent sized one in Baja in December, and it was a little tough to eat.
A little tough, huh?
But what a beautiful fish.
Oh man, incredible fish.
Yeah.
Really difficult to catch too, surprisingly.
Yeah.
I was really humbled, I was fortunate. I was with a bunch of good dudes out there who knew what they were doing and kind of coaching me through how to get one, and they're smart fish, man.
Yeah. But also very aggressive when they want to be.
Very aggressive. But like once you get them hooked, that's just half the battle, because they jump, they throw hooks, like they'll run like really erratic.
Yeah.
They're very difficult fish to land.
Yeah. And those huge long dorsals are so special.
Oh man, incredible. And
Yeah.
the colors on them.
Yeah, absolutely. The time that I got into them, there was a big vortex, a big school of them, and they kind of surrounded me, and I got to dive down the middle of it.
No way.
With all these rooster fish spinning around me. And
you're like in a Nat Geo episode or something.
It was crazy.
That's
It was crazy. And as I dropped, the fish just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
No way.
And pretty soon I was like, good enough, and I shot one, and I had a breakaway. So as soon as it shot, my float line went past me, and I grabbed it and started to head for the surface. And I didn't realize how strong those fish were.
They're super strong.
And I ended up just holding it on the float line, and I'm kicking. I'm like, I should be at the surface. Why am I not at the surface? And I look up, and like the surface isn't getting any closer. And I was like, I need to let go of this.
Yeah, right.
So I dropped the float line and head up to the top. But it was still like, even getting to the top, pulling on this fish, it just pulled me back under.
Oh yeah, they're super strong.
Super strong.
How big do you think that rooster was?
I don't know. I can show you a picture of it. I didn't weigh it or anything like that. He wasn't huge. But I ended up just swimming the float line back over to the captain who was in the ponga and handed the float line to him.
Yeah,
I was like, hey, man, can you pull this thing up here? Yeah. So really, really cool. I see that you put a drop shadow on some of these pectoral fins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're just to give it like a 3D effect.
Yeah.
Like, the shadow is like, implying that there's light shining from, this way or that way. Really helps to make it pop.
I bet taco octopus is not an easy one to do.
Oh yeah, they're difficult, man. Taco octopus, they have a lot of water retention because they're very like like if you put them in a bucket of water, they're gonna suck all that water up.
Yeah.
And one of your main enemies with the Gyotaku printing is water, because when you apply your paint, if there's too much water, it's gonna get really splotchy.
Yeah.
So like you saw when we printed that moo today, you have to make sure the fish is super dry before you even think about putting any paint on it.
We have one on the smoker right now that Kylie caught.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. And when we were getting them ready, put them in a stainless steel bowl and poured some salt on it and
lomi.
Yep. Started massaging this thing, and I didn't ask like how long I should do this, but I could tell just by the way Kylie looked at me that it was like until you can't feel your hands anymore.
Right,
It's like
right.
you're just going to keep going.
Yeah.
But that was a great way to sort of get that slime off of them.
You know what helps with that? If you freeze the taco first and then you let it tenderize, like the slime will come off so much easier.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's something I learned along the way.
Do you have taco eyes? Can you spot them?
Yeah, that's one of the. I'm not a great diver, but I'm pretty good at taco diving.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it's enjoyable. You're in relatively safe water, shallow water.
Yeah.
And once you find one, they're probably most likely going to be in that area.
Gotcha.
Like you're going to find all of them there.
I can't see them.
Oh, you just got to practice, man. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, it's a really new environment for me.
Right.
So if you are very used to seeing all of the coral and like what should be there, it's easier to see something that's extra.
Right.
Like if I'm in the elk woods, I can spot an elk's ear from half a mile away.
Right. For me, that would be taco diving.
Right.
If I was there.
Yeah.
I would be like, what?
Yeah. You'd be like, where? I'm like, it's obvious. It's right there.
You can't see that elk's ear? What? I don't even know what an elk looks like.
Yeah. Right. I hunted in Australia for a month last year, and it took me about 3 days to get used to just how the trees and the brush and stuff looked there.
That makes sense.
And the termite heaps. And then once I was used to like, okay, this is the environment, then I could start seeing animals and I could start picking out the stuff that was new, extra. But right now, every piece of reef I go to is a little bit different.
Right. Like your brain hasn't had a chance to dial in to like the new environment.
And they change colors and they change shapes.
Oh yeah, man.
They're aliens.
Taco diving is difficult, but once you get an eye for it, it's fun. We should go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to going sometime. I think I would. I love it. I think that they're tremendous table fare, and a lot of people are wigged out about eating them because like they're smart and they watched Octopus Teacher or whatever.
Right.
But this is a really abundant food source. They have a short lifespan.
Very short lifespan.
There's a ton of them out there. They reproduce like crazy.
Right.
It's a sustainable food source.
Very sustainable.
The other thing I think about that, like, should we only be eating dumb animals?
Right. Like being a Gyotaku artist, I get a lot of hate online for some videos because people are like, why would you kill an octopus? It's like, you shouldn't eat like intelligent creatures. But like, you know what I mean? That doesn't make sense.
And who's to say that these other animals, that a Moana collie isn't intelligent?
Right, exactly.
Like, it's surviving in a place where there's a shark around every rock, and the best spear fishermen in the world are taking drops on it all the time. And, it grew up in a reef that's covered in peacock grouper that are trying to kill it. Like, that's a smart animal. That's an animal that's surviving. But people aren't going to get upset about you eating a goatfish.
Right.
Right?
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Double standard.
Talk about color. That is a fish that the colors blow my mind. Like,
Moana Kali.
oh my
Oh
gosh.
yeah, they're beautiful fish.
And on the bottom, it's like, okay, I see like a kind of silvery bluish fish with a yellow spot. And then every inch that you take that fish closer to the surface,
It just gets brighter and brighter.
changes colors.
Yeah.
Dude, they
It's
are
amazing.
incredible.
Yeah.
We steamed one, and then
Really good eating fish too.
yeah, Kylie put a bunch of herbs on it and then poured
Hot
oil.
Yeah.
Dude, that was good.
So good. Moana
Yeah.
Kali is like a really versatile fish. You can eat it like sashimi or, Chinese style, baked, steamed, fried. It's all good.
I think that broomfish is slept on as far as
broomfish is delicious.
Yeah.
It's like the cleanest little white meat fillet.
yeah. So I'll ask you this, since you're a sushi chef and you do all this.
Mm-hmm.
When I was filleting those broomfish, it was really easy to pull the skin off. Right? And then the fillet comes off really easily as well. But underneath the skin, there is a white membrane that was pretty tough. And I thought I would be able to like rip it off with a paper towel or something. But is there an easier way to do that?
The white membrane. Was it like it looked like sinew, like it's too tough to eat?
Yeah.
I think an easier way would be to just fillet it normally
Yeah.
and then just, slide your knife under the skin and wiggle it.
That's probably the smarter move. Yeah.
Because I noticed even when people remove the skin with like mahi and they go with like a wrench and they pull it,
Yep. Same exact thing.
it's like you're leaving behind too much of that that sinew. We call it suji.
Yep. And I think they actually taste fairly similar to mahi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. I just learned what that means, by the way.
What's that?
Strong.
Oh, mahi.
Yeah.
They're strong fish.
Yeah. Another super colorful fish. I bet that's a fun one for you to
I
colorize.
love printing mahi. I just printed a 51-pound bull mahi last year, and that thing was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How often do you have to make multiple prints? Like you're not satisfied with the first one, you didn't get enough paint down, you put too much paint down.
I would say these days I can get it down on the first try, but when I was starting out, man, I would print one fish like 10 times and I still wouldn't be quite satisfied.
Yeah.
But 16 years of trial and error, and you slowly learn and kind of figure out your workflow, and I think I got it pretty down where I can get on the first try.
Tell me about the paper you use.
So the paper I'm using is kozo. It's a Japanese mulberry paper. So if you look at the paper, you can see like all of the strands. It's just really, really like erratic. It's like imperfect. So ever since I started doing Gyotaku, I've always used this kozo paper, and this is my go-to.
Something else that I see on Gyotaku is that there's a signature stamp. Tell me about that.
So that's called a hanko. So a hanko is like, it's equivalent to like your signature in Japan. So my hanko is custom and it has my name, Nonaka, in it. So it's like authenticating my work every time I stamp it.
Who developed that for you?
I did that in Japan.
You did?
Yeah.
It's badass.
Thank you.
Looks cool. Yeah, it looks really cool. And then you sign and date it as well?
Sign and date it. Yep. It's ready to go.
Do you do your own framing?
I outsource my framing, actually. Yeah. So I can just focus on the art,
Yeah.
Framing is really important. It ties the Gyotaku piece in, but just like a whole nother type of art. And I'm a one-trick pony, I just stick to my guns.
Yeah. Yeah. Are there any super memorable pieces that you've done? Something that stands out?
Yeah, I mean, I did this Mizu Ika a couple years ago. It's like this big, I think it's a diamondback squid.
Okay.
Maybe in other parts of the world it's a little more common, but here in Hawaii it's super rare. But someone caught it on the boat at nighttime, and I was fortunate enough to print it. And it's a big squid, like 30 pounds maybe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, huge.
Wow. What's the biggest fish you've done?
The biggest fish I've done was a blue marlin from a charter in Kona. It's maybe about 250 pounds.
Okay.
Which is, relatively small for a blue marlin, but it's still 250 pounds,
Yeah.
I would love to do like a grander one day, because they do come up in Kona once in a while.
Yeah. Do you have the paper to be able to do that?
So for something that big, I would need to use like fabric.
Okay.
Because the paper, There's no way.
Yeah. That sailfish at Kylie's is a monster. That thing's like 12 feet long.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So color versus black, like, is that customer preference?
Yeah, it's pretty much preference. Some people have a hard time deciding whether they like traditional or color. So I came up with this style I call hapa. So it's literally half. Hapa means half in Hawaiian. So it's a traditional print, but part of it is colored in like the modern refined style.
Yeah.
So you kind of get like the best of both worlds.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is cool. And it feels like that Moana collie over there that we're looking at. It feels almost like only part of the fish is fully visible. Like he's in shadows or something. Yeah.
You get the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you think? Do you like a traditional, just black only, or colored style?
I like the traditional. You know, it's got this tattoo vibe.
Almost like a fossil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does look like a fossil. That's exactly right. And you know, the eyes that you do are so precise. And then you start to go out to like the parts of it, they get a little bit more suggestive. I don't know. It's really interesting to me. It's really interesting. It's such a cool form of art, and it's just a way to remember this fish that you also get to eat. And like, how wild is that? Like, if people are going to get it, you know, duck taxidermied or something, they're not eating that.
You're not eating it. So what is the point of hunting it? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. So getting to combine all those things, especially with the history of it, is rad. Are you, do you have Japanese origins?
Yeah, I'm actually full Japanese.
Full Japanese.
Yeah, I'm fourth generation in Hawaii.
Okay.
Japanese.
Interesting. So when did your family come here?
I don't know the year exactly, but 4 generations ago.
Yeah, early 1900s.
Yeah, so they came to work in the sugarcane plantations here, like a lot of people did, you know. We have a lot of Japanese, Chinese, Filipino, Portuguese, just a lot of different immigrants came here. You know, there's like a work shortage in Japan at that time. So,
did your family have a hard time during World War II?
Yeah, actually my grandma got separated from her family during the war. They went to go visit Kumamoto, where my family's from, in Japan. And while they're there, World War II broke out.
Wow.
Yeah, so Japanese weren't allowed, obviously, to come back to the States.
Wow.
So they remained there the rest of their lives. And my grandma remained in Hawaii, in Pahala.
Really? Gosh. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's an interesting story.
Tough situation, right?
Difficult situation.
Yeah. Was there animosity?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I mean, at that point, what can you really do? You know, it's beyond your control.
Yeah.
But, I'm fortunate. I got to, you know, be born and raised in Hawaii.
Yeah.
A lot of people come here. They save their money and come here for a couple weeks for vacation. And I'm fortunate to grow up here. You know, we have access to the ocean and spear diving, fishing. We can go see the volcano erupt and go play in the snow on the mountain in the same day. Probably one of the only places in the world that, you know, we can do that kind of stuff.
When I pulled up the weather forecast yesterday, there was a volcano warning, you know,
yeah.
And at home right now, there's avalanche warnings.
Right.
You know, they're getting snow, and it's just amazing how diverse and interesting our own world is. How our own country is. There's so much here. There's so much. Hawaii, honestly, feels like another country to me a lot of times when I come here.
Yeah, definitely. Big island especially.
Yeah. But I love it, and I love the people. I love the Big Island. The habitat is so diverse here on the island itself. You know, you've got all these diverse weather ecosystems.
Right. I think one of the only places where they have almost all of them.
Yeah.
I think in one island.
Because you go up to over 13,000 feet.
Yeah, I mean, there's snow and there's volcanoes erupting and sandy beaches in the same island. So
and there's deserts and rainforests.
deserts, yeah.
And it's the Big Island, but it's also not that big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what they say? Small world, big island.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right down.
There's a little crime kerfuffle going on here right now.
Oh yeah, just a little manhunt going on.
Yeah. So fella got in a run-in with the cops at a bank and shot one of the police and is still on the run.
Still on the run.
Yeah,
$21,000 reward.
Yeah, $21,000 bounty.
Yeah.
Like that dude is sweating it out somewhere right now.
Oh man,
Yeah.
he's done.
Dude, for sure. Yeah. Sounds like a bad guy.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's also because it is Big Island, small world. Like Kylie called it the coconut wireless.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, coconut wireless.
Dude, everybody knows everything all the time.
Yeah, like we know, local people know everything before the news even knows about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it cracks me up. Where I'm from is similar in some ways, right? It's kind of an island, but it's surrounded by impossible terrain.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got this huge mountain wilderness on one side. I've got this huge canyon wilderness on the other side. There's one road in, one road out.
Mm-hmm.
That road oftentimes closes due to weather and things like that. So we kind of act like an island.
Mm-hmm.
And because of the way the ecosystem is there, it's considered an island ecosystem for the wildlife.
Oh, really?
Because of how it's surrounded by terrain and habitat that's so different than what's inside of it.
Wow.
That we have all of the animals of the Rocky Mountains, but it's an island mountain. It's not a mountain range. It just comes out of the ground in a circle.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah, island habitats. So there's cultural similarities between this place and the mountains in Northeast Oregon as there is to like.
That's crazy. Who would have thought,
this
right?
volcanic mountain here in the middle of the Pacific
Middle
Ocean.
of the ocean.
Yeah, yeah. Where's the best sushi on the Big Island?
Best sushi. That's a good question. I know Takenoko Sushi in Hilo is really popular. It's like an omakase style place.
What does omakase mean?
Omakase is like chef's choice.
Okay.
So like you go and the chef will just serve you what they feel is the best.
That's nice.
Their recommendation.
A lot of people kind of freak out when they look at a sushi menu because they don't know what the things are.
Yeah,
and
just
there's
get the
lots of
omakase
options.
and just
Yeah.
don't think, just eat.
Yeah.
Don't think about what it is. Don't question it. Just eat it.
I've also learned on this trip that I'm not supposed to put shoyu, soy sauce, on rice.
Oh yeah, that's on the fish only. Yeah.
But like Kylie has a rice cooker going 24/7. Like there's rice with every meal, and you're not supposed to put shoyu on it.
Yeah.
Did not know that. Yeah, I threatened to do it last night, and her mom gave me an ugly look, like she was about to beat me.
That's a no-no.
Yeah, fascinating. What other cultural things do people get wrong with Hawaiian or Japanese food?
That's a good question.
Probably dunking the rice in soy sauce has got to be like the most common crime.
That's one of them for sure. It's going to get too saturated, too salty. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
So when you eat something like nigiri, how are you supposed to do it?
So you just dip the fish. You just dip the fish in the soy sauce.
Okay.
So you turn it sideways and you dip it and you just eat it like that.
And are there some that you're supposed to use your hands versus chopsticks?
That's like a preference thing.
Okay.
I use chopsticks, but you can just grab it and eat it as well.
Gotcha. As far as like, say you're going out to the reef and you're going spearfishing and you want to find the best tasting fish possible. How deep do you like to dive? How long do you like to stay down there?
Well, for me, it's not how deep I like to dive. It's how deep I can dive, which is not very deep, to be honest. I would say like 30 feet, 35 feet max.
Yeah.
Hold my breath like 40 seconds maybe.
Okay. So
But to be honest, like that's good enough to shoot like table food.
Yeah.
Like kole, menpachi, get some octopus and other stuff.
So if you're going to go out with those limitations, what's going to be the number one fish that you're looking for?
Man, I'm going to say kole for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yellow eye tang.
Do you like to use a 3-prong?
3-prong, yeah. That's my thing.
Yeah. 3-prong's fun.
Yeah, because you can reload so quickly, like with a gun, you need to put the shaft back in, put the shooting line around, crank the bands back, and the fish is probably gone by then.
Yeah. I can't reload a gun underwater. I've got to go back to the surface, you know.
Oh, really?
It just takes me too long.
Right.
But the 3-prong, I can get multiple shots off.
Oh, yeah. And if you're lucky, the fish won't swim away, too.
Yeah.
They'll just kind of come back and give you a second shot.
Yesterday was the first time I've gotten 2 Kole on the same drop before.
Oh, same drop?
Yeah.
No way.
And I actually did it twice yesterday, but the second time one of them got out of my hand, so it doesn't count.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it does seem like if you can stay down there, you've got a better chance to shoot multiple fish on that one drop than if you come back to the surface and go back down to the same spot.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Some fish are real curious, like Kole. If you shoot one, they'll get curious and come out, actually.
Yeah.
So even if you have your like the anchor for your dive float, you can drop it down before you take your drop, and they'll actually come out.
Yeah, see what floats off the bottom.
Yeah,
and
some
stuff.
people tie off their gun to their anchor, and they drop the gun. And then just the noise of the metal hitting the reef, it'll attract some fish.
I've seen barracuda do that in Cancun. So if you've got cudas around and you kind of need them to come in, you can just drop your gun down to the bottom and then pull it up really fast. And a lot of times the kudas will come in and check it out.
That's kind of scary.
Dude, they do kind of scare me.
Yeah, right.
They do kind of scare me a little bit.
I saw in Nat Geo, they attack people sometimes, like the really big kuda.
Yeah, especially if you've got shiny stuff.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
The sharp teeth, too.
I was here like 6 years ago, and I went down to Tokunaga's, and I was buying a spear gun and some kit just to be able to do shore dives while I was visiting. And this kid was helping me pick out a mask, and he so took advantage of me. It was so funny.
Oh, yeah.
But I
probably know him.
I got like this big round mask that had a silver band around it, and I was pumped about it. I didn't know anything, and I go up to pay him for it, and bought a spear gun and fins and stuff too, and he goes, "Man, that's cool. I haven't seen somebody wear a mask like that since my granddad." And I was like,
no.
"Oh gosh, I just got had."
He's like, "Which is the hardest one for me to sell?" Oh, right here. I got you, bro. I got you.
Yeah. So anyways, that was a mask I was wearing when I was diving in Cancun, and because it was so shiny, I had this cuda like come straight up to my face and open his mouth. You know, I was going up to the surface as fast as I could. I didn't like it, but I saw a big tiger shark out on the reef yesterday.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
How big you think? Like 10 plus?
Oh, probably 9 to 10.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And there was a white tip, oceanic white tip that had been cruising around, and he was being aggressive. Lance had chased him off a couple times, and Kylie was down on the bottom, and this white tip came back towards her. So Lance dives down and swims up to it and pokes it with a spear gun, and it beelines straight towards Kylie. And I was like, oh no. It goes straight over the top of her, like inches away. And I was like, okay, close. And she looked back at Lance, and I thought she was mad. I couldn't tell, but she never knew that the shark was even there.
Yeah, she's like, did you guys hear something?
Yeah, and it was like inches from her, dude.
Oh,
so
wow.
Anyways, that shark leaves. I'm dropping on Kole, having a great time. They're off down the reef a little ways doing their thing, but still keeping an eye on me because I'm a liability.
Oh, well.
Yeah. And anyways, I see this great big shark cruise through, and I was like, I'm going to go hang out with my friends now.
Yeah.
I need a little bit of backup.
Buddy system.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was the shark aggressive, the tiger?
No.
He's kind of minding his own business.
He was just cruising through.
Yeah.
I saw him once cruise through on the bottom, and that was that. And it was far enough away I couldn't see the stripes, but I could see a silhouette, and I wasn't 100% sure what it was. And when we got out, I looked through a bunch of pictures of silhouettes, and I was like, oh yeah,
that's a tiger shark.
Yeah. So pretty cool. But, sharks are part of the game in a lot of places where people spearfish. And certainly
we're in their home, You just got to respect them and be mindful of them.
Yeah. And honestly, like being aggressive back towards the shark helps keep you safe.
Yeah, definitely. Let them know that you're there and,
Yeah. We were doing some blue water drifts out here too for Ono, for Wahoo. And, the last drift we did, Kylie was like, all right, I'm going to make it rain with a palu. With a chum.
Oh, man. Shark time.
Right. So, we're throwing chum like crazy, trying to get Wahoo to come in. Nothing happens on the drift. Get in the boat. And as soon as we got in the boat, we saw fins sticking out of the water and went over there, and there's a huge school of hammerheads.
Oh no, wait, like a school of them.
A school of them.
Yo,
So badass.
crazy.
What a wild animal.
Yeah.
Yeah. But shark fishing isn't allowed here.
Yeah. I think they just made it illegal last year to even to even hook them.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's a little bit challenging. Like sometimes they're just going to bite your bait.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's like the intent to hook them. Because some
Gotcha.
people do that. Like they
Right.
just want to fight something big.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really make sense because you're not going to eat it.
Right.
Right. So,
Catch and release shark fishing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
We used to fish for them off the beach in North Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
when I
Just
was-
like with a chunk bait or
Yeah.
something.
when I was stationed there, and it'd be like knee to hip deep water, and
Uh-huh.
we'd catch big sharks right off the beach.
No way.
Super fun. And we ate a couple sharks there, which was a normal thing to do, and it was
Mhm.
fine. There was, billions of sharks, and,
Cool.
and it was no dramas. And I honestly felt like the black chips were really good meat too.
What does shark taste like? I've never had it.
It tastes a little bit like scallops.
Really?
Yeah,
Like kind of sweet?
yeah, a little bit like, white flesh. They've got a bloodline in them that you cut
Mhm.
out, and as long as you kill the fish quickly and get it bled out,
Mhm.
then I think get it cold just like any other fish. Treat it right.
Hmm.
Yeah, mako also tastes really
Yeah, I
good.
heard mako or thresher shark is good too.
Yeah, I've heard that too about threshers. I've
Mm.
never seen one. They're a really cool animal.
Oh, these things are huge. I'd love to print one
That'd
day.
be a sick print.
Sick.
Yeah,
Like that top fin.
yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah. That big long tail.
Big long tail.
Yeah.
It's like as long as the shark almost.
Yeah, that'd be beautiful. I bet the details on the scales would be tricky since they're so small.
Yeah, I don't know, because shark skin is like cartilage, right? So
Mhm.
I'm really curious to see how that would translate to like Gyotaku
Yeah.
printing. Like what kind of texture you could pull from that.
Yeah, it'd probably be beautiful.
I think so. It'd probably take a little while to get dialed in, but it would be sick.
Well, we talked about a project that I'm planning on doing this fall. I don't want to say more about it right now, but if I was to print Gyotaku on shirts,
Mm-hmm.
how would I go about doing that? Because an idea I have in mind is like if I'm going on dive trips and I'm seeing all these cool species,
Mhm.
it'd be kind of fun to just like take a t-shirt or long sleeve shirt and do a print of like
Mhm.
that fish or his head or his tail,
Yeah.
part of him.
That'd be sick. Like a personal souvenir.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And like what a fun way to remember a fishing
Mhm.
trip than to like continue wearing it.
Right.
So compared to what we just did with the mulberry paper,
Mhm.
what would I do differently if I was trying to print onto a cotton shirt?
To be honest, the process is pretty much the same.
Okay.
Yeah. Printing with fabric's a little different. Like you saw today, I sprayed the paper with water.
Mhm.
I spritzed it before. I laid it on the fish just to, make it more pliable. But the cotton is more forgiving where it contours easier.
Yeah.
Because it's not as like rigid as a piece of paper.
Yeah.
But yeah, the process is pretty identical.
Pretty
I'd say.
similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just start in the middle,
Yeah, start from the middle and
rub
just
it in.
methodically work your way around, get the scale detail, fin definition, and try and get a nice clean 2D print.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah. It'd be fun. So obviously, if somebody is fishing on the Big Island and they catch a fish that they want to print, it's as simple as like getting a hold of you,
Mhm.
bringing the fish here.
Yes.
What if they want to have a fish print done of something they've caught somewhere else? Can they ship you a frozen
Yeah,
fish?
actually, people have shipped me fish frozen before.
Mhm.
They put it in a styrofoam box and with some ice packs, and they ship it over. And then if they want, I can ship it back to them. And if some people just tell me to keep them,
Yeah.
actually. So like that giant Pacific octopus
Mhm.
I did right there. Someone sent that from Alaska,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. That's a badass print.
Yeah, big octopus. Way bigger than we get here in Hawaii. I think that one was 30 pounds.
I would not grab that one.
Oh, no, there's no way.
He would own me.
Oh, he would destroy you.
The 5-pounders own me.
Yeah, they're strong, man.
So strong.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Did you get to practice like biting
Yeah,
the taco?
yeah.
How
Yeah.
was that?
The last time I came out here, I caught a couple of them
Mhm.
and learned how to kill them
Mhm.
by biting them behind the eyes, and yeah, it went well. It's gross.
Yeah,
Like, there's
it's a weird sensation like the first time you do it, right?
it is. It's slimy, and like the bottom line is I'm taking an animal and I'm killing it with my teeth, right?
Mhm.
That's pretty beastie.
Yo, it's
You know,
gnarly.
that's
yeah.
not a normal human experience in the way that people live today.
Right.
But that is how every other mammal in the world makes its living.
Exactly.
Right? And it's definitely part of who we are. And I think that there's part of that, and this is going to sound jacked up to people, but that there's part of doing that of and it is the most humane way to kill an octopus,
100%.
right? We're not being weird out here.
Mm-hmm.
But there's part of doing that like activates this old thing inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
It's primal.
Primal for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like cruel and inhumane, but like you said, it's the most like humane way to dispatch them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And of course I took a lot of hate from that too, but in that there was an opportunity for me to have conversations with people who simply don't know. You know, they're from Iowa or from Massachusetts.
Right.
They don't know.
Right.
It's like, look, there's a lot of these, and they're making more of them all the time.
They don't live long.
They don't live a long time, and it's great food. It's a sustainable resource, and this is the most ethical and quickest way to kill them.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. Everything that we eat was alive. All of it.
Right.
I don't care if it's a plant or an animal. It was all alive. And then it has to die so that we can keep living.
100%.
Yeah. But if you can take stuff like this and you can freeze part of that moment, then it gets to keep living as long as
eternally.
As long as your house has walls, man.
That's what I say with Gyotaku. It's kind of like immortalizing the catch. You know, it's like paying tribute to its life.
Yeah.
You know, in a way. And you still get to enjoy it as a meal, like we talked about. And you have this art that will live on forever. Maybe be passed down as like, you know, to your kids as like a family heirloom of, you know, dad's catch or something. It's a full circle process for sure.
And there's also opportunities to make this even more reciprocal and organic, because you can take things like cuttlefish ink or like the ink sac from an octopus, and you can use that ink to make your print.
Yeah.
Yeah. How wild is that?
Yeah, I've never tried that, but you know what? Since you brought that up, I'm going to have to try that.
Okay.
Do a taco Gyotaku with the taco ink.
Okay.
That would be sick.
Well, I saved an ink sac. It's in Kylie's freezer, so
let's do it.
Yeah. We should go grab that, or if after I leave, go get it from her and try it and see if it works, you know?
I think it would be sick.
Yeah. It's powerful ink.
Yeah, right? Like I was telling you earlier, I just came back from my Okinawa trip, and one of my friends owns a izakaya restaurant there, and they served me a dish. It's taco.
What does that mean, izakaya?
Izakaya is like it's kind of like a kind of bar food, but not bar food in like the American sense where it's like fries and stuff. Okay. It's like somewhere you drink and they serve you good food to go with the drinks kind of thing.
That sounds nice.
But yeah, he had this it was like taco pasta that they made with a taco ink sac. Because I've heard of like squid ink pasta, but I never thought that I could do it with like the taco that we catch.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
So that was an interesting concept for me. I'm going to have to try that. Too.
That's another really expressive way to deal with color too. And I think that like a really bright red sauce on top of squid ink pasta is just beautiful.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fun. I think it's cool when chefs figure out how to do things like that, and how to use something as dissimilar as squid ink and pasta that's made out of wheat and eggs and water,
and just combine them to make this beautiful dish.
Right? Pretty neat.
Yeah, for sure. Especially the kind of ingredients that people are like, you know, kind of uncomfortable with, or would, you know, like, oh no, that's not edible.
Yeah.
Those are some of the best ingredients sometimes.
Yeah.
That's why I like traveling, because you get to, you know, sample this cuisine from all around the world and just see like food from like a different perspective. You know, like in Okinawa, it's just so different the way that they prepare dishes and like their approach to cooking and stuff.
What does the future hold for you in Gyotaku?
So it was always my dream to travel the world and, you know, bring my art with me and create Gyotaku and share them with the people there. And as of recently, I've been doing that. You know, I went to Mexico, I went to Alaska last year. I just came back from Japan and Okinawa. So I would say more of that. You know, I want to travel the world and print these different fish from all over that we don't have in Hawaii and expand my, expand my collection of fish and meet these great people and just share my art with the world.
It's an incredible thing that social media creates an opportunity for, isn't it?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Developing these contacts with people who are so distantly remote.
Yeah, like without the internet, how would we connect with them?
Right.
Like when I went to Mexico last year, I posted a video of my Gyotaku work, and someone reposted it and said like, "Hey man, like that's so cool. Like, come out to Mexico one day. We do fishing charters." And 2 weeks later, I was there with them in La Cruz.
Yeah.
So shout out to Damar Sport Fishing, Daniel and Danny Gomez. Good dudes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? You'd recommend them as a charter?
Highly recommended.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fishy dudes. They
Yeah.
put me on the Pargo, rooster fishing, and hit them up for sure.
Did you do any diving?
No, not that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just stayed on the boat.
Yeah.
Maybe next time.
A little bit different game over there because you got to worry about sea lions.
Yeah. Sea lions
Lobos.
and crocodiles too at the pier. I was like, is that a crocodile? He's like, oh yeah, don't worry, man. I'm like, what? Wait, what?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, we're staying on the boat this time. I ain't no. Or like in Okinawa this past time, I saw like those the venomous sea snakes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all over.
I would not like that.
Oh, there's a big one chasing me for like 5 minutes.
Pass.
I think he thought my 3-pronged spear rubber was a snake, so he just kept following me. Yeah, it was culture shock.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm scared of eels. I'm scared of snakes. All the animals that are that shape. I have like a phobic reaction.
They're not friend-shaped.
No, not friend-shaped.
Not at all.
Mr. No Shoulders needs to just keep his distance.
I'm going to need to see some limbs or something, some fins or something. Yeah. I'm the same way.
Well, Brandon, how do people get a hold of you to buy your art? And you make more than just prints, right? You've got like towels.
Yeah,
and
I do
posters
merchandise,
and stuff like
all
that.
kinds of stuff. Microfiber towels, hats, duffel bags. So you can get at me at my website, MakaiImpressions.com. I'm on Instagram, Makai Impressions, and we can just go from there.
How's Makai spelled?
Makai.
Does that mean anything?
Yeah, Makai means ocean.
Ocean.
In Hawaiian.
It does.
Yeah.
I learned a new word.
There you go.
love it.
Mauka to Makai.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, well, we'll also have links to this stuff in the podcast description like we usually do, so you can just click on that. If you can't remember, you can come back to it. And highly recommend. Also, make sure to check out my Instagram because I'm going to have some of Brandon's work on there, and you can see kind of this process because I got to film him going through this moo. And you can check out Gyotaku and see if it's something that you want to do, because I would love to see this come farther east and get onto the mainland. Like people should be doing this with carp. They should be doing this with trout and with walleye. It is a really special way to remember these fish, to memorialize them. I love it. I can't get enough of it. I gotta try it. I'm going to Panama next week.
No way.
Gonna go spearfishing down there.
Sick.
So I've got a little kit ordered. I've got some of the Sumi ink and some brushes and some pins, and
you're gonna make your first Gyotaku?
I'm gonna try, dude. I'm gonna give it a try, and maybe 16 years from now, I'll have it figured out like you do.
Let's go, man. Let's do it. You gotta start somewhere.
Yeah. And look, if it's all smudgy and weird, that's okay.
That's perfectly fine, man.
Yeah. We'll get the idea. It'll be sort of shaped like a fish.
Exactly.
We'll go from there.
Imperfect art form. Perfected imperfection is what it is.
Oh, it's always all this stuff that's worth doing, man. It's just it's the pursuit. It's just the pursuit of perfection where it's impossible to attain.
Right.
That's it. And if what you're pursuing is not that, I don't know if it's worth your time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I'm not into Excel spreadsheets, so if that's somebody's thing, like you can try and pursue perfection there. But
go ahead.
Yeah, this is my thing. I like this. Yeah, you're doing beautiful stuff, man. Thank you so much for letting me come into your studio and to have the conversation. And
anytime,
dude, keep crushing it.
Will do, man.
All right, brother. Appreciate you.
Have a good one.
Thank you to everyone who has taken the time out of their busy lives to write a review for the show and share it with their friends. I'm extremely proud of how intelligent, engaged, and adventurous this audience is. Original music for the Six Ranch podcast is written and performed by Justin Hay. Art for the Six Ranch podcast was created by John Chatelain and digitized by Celia Harlander. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again next week.